So we've seen how we can use the present to talk about the future in Spanish, using voy a, vamos a, or using some future context, pronto, soon, mañana, tomorrow, la semana que viene, the week that comes, next week. But we can also use the present in Spanish to talk about the past, just as we can in English. In English and in Spanish, we have three ways to talk about the past, or three main ways to talk about the past. We can say, for example, I ate. We can say, I was eating. And we can say, I have eaten. Now, when we say I have eaten, we're using I have, which is the present. And then eaten is like a version of the verb, which is kind of complicated in English. You say, I have eaten, I have gone, I have wanted. Wanted, eaten, gone, they're all very different. So that's kind of complicated in English, how to build that. But in Spanish, it's very simple. So we have I ate, I was eating, and I have eaten. This I have eaten is going to be the first past that we learn. And we're actually using the present. Now this have is not tener. Tener we use for possession, and we use with the combination of que to give this meaning of have to. Now the verb that we use for have in the sense of I have eaten, I have gone, in Spanish it's haber. Haber, H-A-B-E-R. And of course we have the silent H there in haber. Haber is to have in the sense of I have eaten, but haber is extremely irregular. There is no abo. It's extremely irregular. But there is a very easy way we can remember all of the versions of haber, even though it's very irregular. What are the two vowel sounds that we have inside of the verb haber?
A and E.
Good. We have a and e inside the word haber, and we're going to use that to help us remember the versions. Let's start with e. E, all by itself, means I have. It's spelled H-E. And of course we have the silent H there from haber in e, H-E. I have. We actually saw already one other verb that forms its I version in this way. What was to know?
Saber.
Saber. And I know is?
Se.
Se. I have from haber is spelled H-E. Just like se from saber is spelled S-E. They're the only two verbs that form their I version in this way, in this very irregular way. So you get se from saber and you get e from haber. Different from saber, all of the versions of haber are irregular. Now, I and we are connected. We can see how we is the plural of I, and then when I include you and I say we, it's like the plural of I. So I and we are connected. So just knowing that, if you had to guess what is we have, knowing that I have is e, what do you think you would guess?
Es.
This works with nouns and adjectives. So it's a very good example of why, whilst we are avoiding grammatical terminology, we want to know what type of word we're dealing with, because different words behave in different ways. Nouns, words you can put the or a in front of, la semana, una semana, the week, a week. And adjectives, words that describe, that you can put is in front of, is red, is tall. These words use s for plural, but we've never seen the verb do that, have we? What does the verb use for we?
Amos.
Or?
Hemos.
Or?
Imos.
And what do they have in common? Amos, hemos, imos.
The mos.
Good, okay. So, if e is I have, H-E, how do you think it might be we have?
Hemos.
Hemos. Good. So from haber, you get e and hemos. No? Now we don't want to memorize this. Like we said, we can think just this thought. Just the thought, what vowels do we have in haber? A and e. Oh, okay. E. E by itself is I. It's connected to we. E and hemos. Now we go to the other vowel. A. H-A. All by itself, H-A. A means she has, it has, he has, you will have. Now I'm sure you can tell me the rest of them. What are the other versions? What is they have?
An.
Good. So we start with this base of e and a, and we can remember that just by looking at the vowels that are inside haber, and then we can add on what we need. So we have e for I have, hemos for we have a, ha, for he, she, it, you, have or has. You added an n, and what did you get?
Han.
And what does that mean?
They have.
Or?
You guys have.
Good. And how would you say you have informally?
Us.
Us. Good. And that's just it. Hemos, a, as, an. So you have two key vowel sounds, e and a. Hemos for I and for we, for I and the plural of I, which is we. And then you have a for he, she, it. An for they, us for you informal. Now we need to learn how to make eaten, how to make gone, how to make wanted. If we want to say I have eaten, I have gone, I have wanted. This is very simple in Spanish. Our verbs will lose their ar, they will lose their final ar, and they will put ado on the end. So for example, we have to speak, which is hablar. If you want to build spoken, you take off that ar and you put on ado.
Hablado.
Hablado. Now we can speak about the past. Now we can say I have spoken. And we need to think about the two bits separately. I have spoken.
Is it he hablado.
Very good. He hablado. I haven't spoken. Where do you think the no is going to go? I haven't spoken.
In the beginning.
Good.
No he hablado.
Very good. No he hablado. I haven't spoken. We have spoken.
Hemos hablado.
Hemos hablado. He has spoken.
Ha hablado.
Good. She has spoken.
Ha hablado.
Good. They.
Han hablado.
You informal.
Has hablado.
Perfect. Well done. Now, this is actually more useful, this past, than what you might think it is, because this is used even more in Spanish than it is in English. So maybe you want the past I spoke, but you can use for now I have spoken. This have past is very popular and used much more than in English. So, how would you say anticipation?
Anticipación.
Good. And to anticipate?
Anticipar.
Good. How would you say we have anticipated it? So, there's a few things you have to think about. Think about them separately, then put them together. We have anticipated it.
Hemos anticiparlo.
So to get anticipated, you take away the ar and you put ado.
Yes. Hemos anticipado lo.
And where does that lo go? Because anticipado is not like...
It's changed now, so it's in
Yes.
the beginning.
Yes.
So lo hemos anticipado.
Good. Lo hemos anticipado. The word for, like in time, we have anticipated it for a long time, for example, is por. Por.
Por.
You might know por favor, which means please in Spanish, which means for a favor. Por favor, for a favor. So this por is also for in the sense of for periods of time. So if you want to say we have anticipated it for a long time, we will just say we have anticipated it for much time. Maybe there's some bits in there you think you don't know, but we will see when we get to them. So the first bit is we have anticipated it.
Lo hemos anticipado.
Good. For
Por.
a lot or much
Mucho.
time. We saw briefly before that we have a word in English that we use for time that we only use with music. What was that word?
Tempo.
Tempo. And how did it change in Spanish?
Tiempo.
Tiempo. Yes, the E split. So, we have anticipated it for a long time.
Lo hemos anticipado por mucho tiempo.
Good. Lo hemos anticipado por mucho tiempo. Very good. Maybe you want to ask somebody, did you celebrate? And you think, oh, I don't know did yet in Spanish. You can just say, have you celebrated? And that's fine. Like I said, it's used even more in Spanish than in English. So some certain situations, it might sound a little bit uncomfortable, the translation into English. But in Spanish, most of the time, it's going to be fine. So, have you celebrated? Let's speak informally.
Has celebración. Celebrar. Celebrado.
Good. Good.
So, has celebrado.
Good. Has celebrado? Haven't you celebrated?
No has celebrado.
Why haven't you celebrated?
¿Por qué no has celebrado?
Good. What was the word for where?
¿Dónde?
Donde. Where have you celebrated?
¿Dónde has celebrado?
Good. Where have you celebrated it?
¿Dónde lo has celebrado?
Good. So, our verbs, we take away the ar and we put ado and we get this version of the verb that we need after haber, which in English has many different forms. Like I said, you have gone, wanted, eaten, changes a lot. But in Spanish, we get rid of the ar and we put ado. We said that to take, and also sometimes to drink, is tomar. Tomar.
Tomar.
So how would you say, I have taken?
He tomado.
He tomado. Good. We have taken?
Hemos tomado.
Good. Has she taken it? Has she taken it?
Han lo tomado.
That's a guess. You're looking at me like it's a guess. I want you to establish your own thought process of how you're going to find it. So what's the first bit you need to think about? Has she taken it?
Has she?
Good. What is that?
Okay, so it's e and hemos for
Okay.
I and we.
Yes.
So it's a. It's
Yes.
just a.
So, has she taken it?
Lo ha tomado.
Sometimes I'm going to build you up step by step. Sometimes I'm just going to give you the sentence and you need to deconstruct what thoughts you need to have first and to divide it up into various thoughts to get the sentence, resisting any temptation to guess or to say something that we're not sure of. You can be sure and be wrong. There's no problem there. But we want to think about it, dividing the sentence up into each individual thing we need to think about. First, she has. She has taken. Ha tomado. She has taken it. It is lo. Where did I put the lo? Before the change verb. Lo ha tomado.